Welcome to the show. My name is JR, and this is Daddy Discussions with the three J's. And as always, I can't do it. My two wonderful brothers from another mother, Jeff and Josh. Guys, what's up? How you doing?
How's it
What
going?
up? What up?
How's the Christmas holiday season been for you so far?
Busy.
Busy. We're 2 weeks away. You guys got all the Christmas gifts done?
Yeah.
I wish we had 2 weeks, bro.
Oh yeah, we're like five. I guess I'm losing my mind. Yeah, losing my mind here. So
I had a little bit of hope there for a second, like maybe I can get all this done. No.
it's just make sure you're awake here, guys. So make sure you're awake.
Yeah. 2 weeks, 5 days, same thing.
It's the peso math. That's what it is, right? So that's what it is.
Yeah.
Anyway, you guys still get excited this time of year? Are you guys getting the holiday cheer yet? Since we're only 5 days away.
I feel like it kind of snuck up on us this year, but we were able to muster some holiday spirit.
Do we say that every year? I mean, really? It's like every year we're like, man, this holiday season getting less and less. What do you think?
Yeah. It's kind of like the equivalent of, you become an old person when you drive around and judge gas prices everywhere you go.
Yeah. That's the dad thing.
Yeah.
Or you go drive through a neighborhood and check out everybody's yard, see how it's mowed or freshly manicured, compare yours to theirs. Yeah.
Judge everyone's lights on their house.
Oh, dude, yeah. The lighting guy definitely does that for sure. What's the big Santa gift this year? Or is it too close to kids around to be able to say it?
I think we're keeping it pretty low key this year for us, just because we took a big trip out to Dallas for my sister-in-law's wedding last week. So that took a lot of funds to be out there. So we're keeping it low key this year.
Josh, what about you?
Man, I'll be honest. I probably won't even find out what the kids are getting. I know they're probably getting like a Power Wheel or something, but until Tabitha and I wrap gifts 2 nights before Christmas, hopefully a little earlier, I won't even know. I mean, she does 99% of the shopping for the kids, so
It's one of those.
and she's way better at gift giving than I am, so it's probably a good thing. I did get them one gift today, and they're not going to hear this, so I got them miniature broom and dustpan sets. That's where my head goes.
There you go. Kids need to earn their keep. That's what I'm talking about. Jeff, what about you, brother?
Nothing crazy. Their big ask this year, believe it or not, was yo-yos. So
Sweet.
yeah,
that's awesome.
And
Are those coming back?
I
12-year-old
guess
JR just said awesome.
Yes, I love it.
all my girls were like, "Daddy, we want yo-yos for Christmas," and I was like, "Done, easy enough."
Yeah, that's incredible. Did you get them the big fancy, like the ones that you could do all the things with? Did you get the?
No, my kids are so destructive. I got the cheapo 4-pack off Amazon.
There you go. There you go. I feel like as we become dads, it's easy for me to say that I feel like I've become like a toy engineer. I mean, almost like I should like put an elf suit outfit on and become like a elf or something. Like what? I mean, what say you?
Just walk around with a screwdriver in your back pocket.
That's all I do, man. It's like, spend like 3 days after Christmas putting stuff together, maybe more. I don't know.
Batteries, making sure it works.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
All the things. Yep.
So, Jeff, I seen that you might have done a little traveling last weekend, or you just said that. How was the trip to? Did you go to Texas? Was that right?
Yeah, we went out to Dallas, Fort Worth area. It was good. Got to meet a lot of my wife's extended family, which was good. They're good people. And the celebration of marriage is always a fun time. So
for sure. Josh, you doing any traveling?
We'll do Christmas here at the house, and then probably that Tuesday or Wednesday after head to Memphis for a couple days.
Jeff, how long were you in Texas? Was it like 5 days, 6 days?
Little over. I think it was like 7 or 8. We left on a Monday and got back that following Tuesday.
Awesome.
Yeah.
You said what? 3 days, 4 days in Memphis, Josh?
Yeah.
We just got
See how
back
it
from
goes.
Iowa myself, and let me tell you, the weather's a lot colder there than it is here in Nashville, where we all live. Oh my goodness!
Not for much longer though.
Yeah, Friday was
Well, it's nuts, man. We landed in it was like 12. Like I mean, you can almost count it on two hands what the weather was like, and then that was the temperature anyway, and it was snowing, of course, and then all of a sudden we pulled out, and as soon as we crossed over the Iowa border we landed in Omaha, in Nebraska, and we drove up, and it's like this wind gust for the rest of the time. It was going like 30, 40 miles an hour wind. It was like blizzarding conditions. I was looking at my wife and I'm going like, why does people live in this? Like, this makes no sense.
put you out of your comfort zone a little bit.
It's they're way like in another place. Well, and talking about that, today's episode is all about the Daddy's Nothing Box. So the Daddy's Nothing Box is a magical place that daddies visit on a regularity, if possible. Just unwind and kind of, soak up, well, nothing. It's wonderful. The idea of this Nothing Box comes from a comedian and former pastor, Mark Gungor. He produced a DVD series back in 2005 called Laugh Your Way to a Better Marriage. And we're not trying to promote the DVD set, but I do highly recommend it. But if Mr. Gungor is watching, and we could use a sponsor on the podcast, hint, hint. But yeah, we're not trying to lift the DVD series up, but we are saying that this one notion of this Nothing Box in one of the breakout sessions is really, really hilarious. It also hits home. Have you guys seen this video series at all?
No, I haven't.
Wait, we're gonna have to do it in our small group. Sure.
I think
Josh,
that'd
you
be
seen
good.
it?
Yeah, I hadn't seen it, but yeah, I think it'd be killer in a
Really
small group.
hilarious. When me and my wife first got married, our lead pastor at our church used to do a marriage small group at his house with 18 couples, whatever. And he always showed this series. And anytime he did a marriage retreat or anything, he showed the series as well. It's really hilarious. And the idea of this Nothing Box, kind of think of it like this. It's a place that guys just kind of go off into never land. And we literally just think of nothing. It's amazing. Women don't understand it. And honestly, kind of explaining it, I don't really understand it, but it's a beautiful place. And it's really cool. It's really funny. And how it kind of breaks the subject matter down in the series, he talks about the difference between a man and a woman's brain. And obviously the woman's brain's all over the place. It's got 1,000 different, things they're thinking about, and all, because they're very complex creatures. Well, men are not so complex, not trying to, down the conversation, but let's be honest, guys, we're very singularly focused. And when we don't think about the one thing that we have our mindset, we kind of drift off into Neverland. Would you guys agree that I'm speaking truth here?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeff,
Yeah, I've been there a few times.
ever been to the Nothing Box, guys?
Yeah.
I was probably there about 30 minutes before we jumped on this call. So
I was just about to say the same thing. I was there just about an hour ago.
So
it's
think,
go ahead.
sorry. Go
I
ahead.
can.
No, go
I
ahead.
feel like I can go to that Nothing Box doing anything. Like
It's
it's
an amazing place.
such an easy place to visit. Like
It's an amazing place.
yeah,
For all of our listeners out there who don't understand what I'm trying to say here, is think of the male brain like a library shelf or bookshelf. Now on this bookshelf, you have many, many books, right? Or women would call it a cubby, something like that, where you have shelves, you have, boxes, whatever, nice, evenly stacked. And this Nothing Box that fits in between there, box all of it to itself, but it's a pretty large box, just because, it's easy to fall into for guys. And when we get in there, it's hard for us to get out because we kind of enjoy it. We aren't complicated creatures. I can see my wife right now as I say this going, yeah, amen to that. And as you're listening, thank you, dear. Love you. Thank you. You guys want to expound on this idea? There's Nothing Box or anything like this?
No, I think you explained it pretty good.
Josh?
yeah. I mean, it really is just kind of a mindset of I'm just not going to think about anything right now. I've got A, B, C, D, E to that needs to be done, phone calls that need to be made, emails, whatever. But I just need a minute to turn it off. And
yeah. Well, let me ask you this, guys. How often would you say you visit this nothing box idea?
I say at least once a day. A big time for me that I catch myself diving into the nothing box is right when I get home from work. Just kind of, it's a way for me to kind of de-stress from the day and kind of help transition my mind from work mode to family mode. But there's that, like I said, that transition where I'm just don't want to think about anything for a minute while whether it's changing out of my work clothes and showering before I hang out with the kids for a little bit or whatever the case may be. That's kind of a big time frame that I catch myself going into that nothing box.
Yeah. Josh, what about you?
Yeah, a lot of my day, several days a week, I probably spend 5-6 hours just driving around, hauling material, equipment back and forth. So I catch myself while I'm driving, just zoning out, thinking about not really anything, just, city watching. There's probably
sitting here 25 minutes later.
Yeah, there's probably a couple of phone calls I should make, or, I've really started listening to some entrepreneurship type podcast. Those seem to be really helpful. But yeah, sometimes I just got to turn it off, man, and just focus on nothing for a minute.
Yeah, I think for me too, mine is I think the easy one for me is when I drop my kids off at daycare. There's a gym real close, so I go and get a 45-minute workout in, and some days there's days where I'll show up there and just sit on the machine and get lost, and before I know, I was like, oh, my 45 minutes workout was actually like 10 minutes because I just sit here and did nothing for 30 minutes. And then I go get ready and go to the store or whatever. But it's a place I get lost in, like you too, and driving around town or whatever, and going and doing delivery or whatever, and get lost in that situation for sure. Oop, hit the wrong button. Oh, I'm back. So it's hard to talk when you hit the mute button. I don't know if you guys knew that or not. Have you ever noticed yourself getting inside the nothing box whenever you're like maybe watching TV and the wife is maybe asking you to do something and she's trying to talk to you or whatever, and as my kid's trying to come over here and talk to me while we're doing the podcast here, it makes it a little tough too. So but now sometimes you just want to veg out and watch a sports game or whatever. Do you find yourself ever getting lost in that place and with media involved, or is it mostly just in the driving or in quiet time?
For me, driving is a big one, but it's hard when there's obviously the wife and kids in the car. When it's just me, it's easy to get lost in it. Social media is a big one for me. I don't post a lot of social media stuff, but I have a lot of social media to watch social media. And TikTok is a black hole for me. I can literally sit there for an hour and watch videos and not even realize an hour has gone by. And Sarah, I'll sit on the bed and Sarah will come in like an hour later and she'll be like, "What are you doing in here?" "No, I'm just watching TikToks." Just watch social media,
Yeah.
But yeah, it's bad. Sometimes I have to really be aware that I can get lost in that if I know that there's things to do, for sure.
Josh, what about you?
Man, I've really tried not to visit my nothing box when I'm with the kids or with the wife. I don't know if that's necessarily healthy, because I do get to the point where I'll tell Tabitha, "Hey, I need to go hunting, or I just need to go sit in the woods or sit in a duck blind for a couple hours and, just not have anything to focus on." Because, even if I'm at home and the kids are in bed and the wife's still working, I find myself doing something just because I almost feel guilty going to that nothing box. If I want to just go sit on the couch and, scroll through my phone, it's like, man, there's other stuff I could be doing. But yeah, it puts it in perspective. Like you gotta have some time to turn it off and not just push yourself to the point where you regret or feel like it's an obligation to be present with your kids or present with your wife.
I know for me, in my former role, I traveled a lot. And when I first took that job, I used to be a national sales guy for a large lighting manufacturer, and I'd be gone 2-3 days a week. When I first got into the business. I mean, I remember me and my wife got married. My first year was my heaviest year. I was gone 280 of the 365 days. I had a lot of points, a lot of travel points, a lot of I did pretty much do all the things.
5 miles right there.
Yeah. But I also noticed real easily that I never really shut it off. So when I'd come home, I'd walk in the door, and my wife hasn't seen me, I haven't seen her, and it's all of a sudden it's going right to the conversations, and I'm like, just give me a couple minutes to get in the door, put my stuff down, and just realize I'm home, if that makes sense, not just kind of just walk into the next thing. And I've known I've learned something through that, and over time, especially having children, that I can definitely overbook myself, I guess, probably the best way to put it. I mean, I have too much on me, and then I just crash. Either my body shuts down, or I end up sleeping for 24 hours straight, which I've done many times, or from sickness or whatever, or I just get so much on me, and I feel like when I was younger, I probably had some anger issues, probably, and I've gotten past that now. And as I've gotten older, and I think because of that, I've really tried to focus on finding places where I can, some people call it endorphin release, whatever you want to call it, working out, sports, whatever. Having that time to just be able to get my brain right. Now, you could call that a nothing box because you're going into a place where you're de-stressing in a way. That could be considered a nothing box as well. But for me, that was when I really started trying to focus on doing a gym or something like that to try to, even if it's 5 minutes, just to get my brain right. Because, that kind of leads me into my next question I want to ask you guys is, do you think the nothing box is healthy, especially for men with mental health? And I know mental health is a big phrase today's world. We're 2022, going to 2023 in a week or 2 weeks, or however many days are left this year. I can't get that right. But I mean, mental health is a big question. So do you guys think that, finding time to de-stress, I guess is probably the best way to symbolize a nothing box. You think that's good for mental health? Jeff, I'll start with you.
Yeah. I think that's huge. I was former law enforcement officer, as you two know. I don't know if
yeah, that's right.
Many listeners know or not, but it was I made it not a big deal, but it was important, I should say. And I was a big proponent for officer mental health and my own mental health, and because that job takes a toll on you. And I'll never forget, I took a class on, I forget the name of the class, but it was essentially like how to deal with mental stress and combating mental health and all the things. And this guy talked about how when he would come home and take his uniform off, every time he would like undo a clasp or a button or undo a zipper or Velcro, he would like undo it and then take a deep breath, hold it and let it out, and think to himself, I'm home, I'm safe. And then do another piece and take a deep breath, I'm home and I'm safe.
I think that comes from the military. That happens in the military as well.
Yeah. So it was a thing that Sarah and I talked about, that when I got home, she would give me that time and kind of keep the kids away, where I could get in the house, take my uniform off, have a minute to get my mind right and get off of being a police officer, and then transition into being a dad and a husband.
That's
I
awesome.
think it's so important for men to be able to have that transition time. I really think so, for sure.
Josh, what do you think? Was it a work-life balance? Is that what it is?
I think it's a work. Yeah, I think that's part of it. You said something earlier about men just being simple creatures, and I think I find myself just going 100%, at one thing a lot. Whether it's, man, if I'm going to do something good, I'm all in, and even if I'm going to do something dumb, or I'm probably going 100% that way too. So yeah, I think for guys, just the way that we're built, we're masculine, I think it's good for us to just have that time to just shut it off and kind of reassess, and just kind of a restart of your whole thought process, because otherwise we're just going 100% all the time. And
Yeah, for sure. Do you think, you're talking about, mental health and everything. It's interesting. There's a Bible verse kind of jumps in there. I want to throw this out there before we get to the next kind of discussion topic, and that would be Philippians 4:6-7. It's a pretty popular Bible verse, but I'll throw it out there anyway. Do not be anxious about anything, but in everything be by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be known to God, and peace to God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. I think what we're talking about here is from a father perspective. It's a work-life balance. It's a mental health thing. It's a way for, and I think, it's twofold, right? I mean, we've got to be able to be present. And I think we've talked about this in previous episodes about being present with our family and whenever we're with our family. But to be present with your family, you got to be able to walk away from the stress of the everyday job, right? And the only way that happens is to be able to, I don't think it's as easy as a light switch for some people, especially men, where you can shut one off and turn one off, turn one on, right? So you got to be able to dim one off, let it go to complete off, and then hit the switch to the next one, right? And I think that's kind of what we're talking about here. So that kind of leads me into my next question. We're talking about guys here, but do you think that women, and especially our wives, all three of our wives, have nothing boxes? I mean, I know they're complicated creatures, but do you think they ever jump into a nothing box from time to time? Or maybe they want to, but what do you guys think? Josh, I'll start with you this time.
Probably a lot less than I do, if she does it all. I think maybe, I don't know, I was reading through the outline earlier, and this question really stood out to me. Like, yeah, my wife works out. She shops. She gets to go out to dinner with friends, or, but she's always got somebody around her. I mean, even half the time she's working out here at the house, she's got a kid working at, wanting to do the exercises with her. Or she takes our daughter shopping, so I think her brain's probably firing all the time about being a mom. She probably gets to visit that nothing box a lot less than I do. So
Yeah, what about you?
Yeah, I have to agree. If it's not her always thinking about what needs to get done around the house, there's a kid asking her for something because daddy doesn't do it right, so mommy's got to do it, or
That is so true.
yeah, but
Mic drop moment right there. That's a mic drop moment for sure. Holy cow!
I put the Band-Aid on the same way mommy does, but I don't do it as good as mommy.
No, not at all.
Even to the point where, like, if we're sitting down watching TV together, she's scrolling on her phone the same time she's watching TV, or she's always thinking. I feel like she's always thinking about something. She's never just like not thinking about anything. There's always something going on, I feel like, in her brain. So if she does, like Josh said, if she does, it's way less than I go to my knowledge.
Does your wife sleep better than you do, though?
That's debatable because our kids climb in bed with us most nights,
Okay.
and they cuddle her more than me because she cuddles better than I do. So, um, Daddy's the big guy in bed that rolls over and will throw my arm over somebody. So they don't cuddle me. They cuddle mommy when they climb in bed with us. But I sleep like a rock. But I tune that to my military days working on an aircraft carrier. You could if you
Yeah.
could sleep through a jet landing above your head, you could sleep through pretty much anything.
That's true. My wife, I tell you, she I don't know if she gets much time in the nothing box, and I feel like it's obviously there's kid issues, reason why, but I think I'm a big part of that too. And then of course she has a pretty demanding job. You know, I see her a lot. You know, getting ready for bed, and she does like 1,000 things before she gets ready for bed. Face wash and all the makeup. I mean, it's like goodness gracious, how do you even? If I went through that much that checklist before I went to bed, I'd be tired and fall asleep in the middle of it anyway. So I think the time she comes to bed, all of a sudden work starts going crazy. You can just see the mind going, the little hamster spinning, going crazy. And you ever get that question from your wife? You're like, what are you thinking about? And I'm like, literally nothing. They're like, how are you not thinking about anything? I'm thinking about this and this and this and this and this. I'm thinking about this and this and this and this and this. I'm like, well, just shut it off. Like, I can't just shut it off. And I got to sleep, nice little sleep. Got this new bed, one sleeping great in it. Wake up the next morning. She loves the bed, but at the same time, she can't shut it off. So I got like 3 hours of sleep. I'm like, well, like, how does that work? How do you not able to shut it off? And that goes back to, men are very simple creatures. Women are complicated. And I don't know how they do all the things that they do. So I would say, to your point, my wife probably doesn't visit very often either, but I would say probably mostly because it's my fault or the kid's fault. And it just makes me think that I probably need to take a day on a Saturday and take the kids and let her go and go shopping or just go get a nails done or whatever. Just give her a day in a nothing box so she can find it, Maybe we should all do that. It's only like, 6 weeks to Christmas or however long it is.
You got time.
That's time, hey. So guys, you think this idea, we kind of already answered a little bit of this question, but how vital do you think a nothing box is to marriages as a whole? Now we know how it is we talked a little bit about parenting, but what about marriages? Like, is you think it's vital to have us visit our nothing box quite regularly, especially our wives?
That's kind of, I feel like you could argue both ways on that one. I think it's important for us to have our time in the nothing box to help, like we talked about earlier, help our mental health. But also at the same time, if you visit that nothing box too often, then you're not being present and you're not being a present husband or a present father or helping around the house when it's needed. Or I've caught myself a few times. Like like I said, I'll be so caught up in my nothing box scrolling through TikTok or whatever. And like my brain will come to and I'll hear Sarah getting on the kids because they're just being crazy and not listening. And like the house is burning down. And I'm like, oh my goodness. So I got to come out and,
grab a fire extinguisher.
Yeah.
Where have I been the last hour? I don't even know.
You go to your corner. You go to your corner. Let's all just take a breath. Everything's good. So you definitely gotta, it's good, but in portion.
Josh, what about you?
Something I've realized lately is it's nice for my wife and I to have just kind of that nothing time to ourselves. I mean, even if it is just, sitting together and paying bill, we're together. We're not really working out issues with the kids' schedule or talking about, what's going on with school or work. We're together. We're doing something, but I feel like you can still be doing something and still be in your nothing box. And I think that's where just being together in each other's presence, you don't have to be having a conversation about anything or, so yeah, I think it is important for a marriage, to just have that time where you're not working out life's issues, but you're together and just enjoying being each other's presence.
That's two good answers there, guys. Great answers. I like both what you said. I have to agree with you. So that would lead me into this question, and this is generalized just to the three of us. Okay, so when I ask this question, it's just answer it for yourself here. And it's not a generalization to men as a whole. It's just you. Okay, so would you say personally that you spend too much time in your nothing box? Jeff, what about you?
I have my moments, yes.
How can okay, for Josh, before I get to you, let me ask you this question. You said yes. So how can you use that nothing box? And Josh said we can do it while we're doing something else in a way. How can we do that productively? And Josh, I'll ask you the same two questions.
Okay.
So
I got some time to prepare.
Yeah, right. One big thing Sarah and I did together that's kind of a nothing box moment, so to speak, is we like to watch TV shows together after the kids go to bed. Like we have our set shows that we watch together, and we'll, after the kids go to bed, dishes are done, laundry for the day's folded, put away, everything's done in the house, and there's nothing to do. We'll sit down for an hour or two at the end of the day and watch TV together. And it's not like we're sitting next to each other, like she's got her spot on the couch, I got my spot on the couch, but we're in each other's presence and we're just watching TV. And then afterwards we'll be like, oh my gosh, that episode was so crazy, I can't believe this happened, and we'll kind of talk about it. But that's a big time for us, and that's a good example of us being productive in the nothing box rather than me just escaping to the bedroom and being on my phone and not being productive.
Josh, what about you? Do you spend too much time there, and how can you use it productively? If so,
definitely. I mean, there's a lot of mornings that I'm like, man, I'm tired. I'm not gonna get up and invest in myself. Do something like even read a book or listen to a podcast. I feel like if I'm in that nothing box too much, then I'm not becoming a better version of myself. And that's really, I think that should be all of our goals, is to be the best version of ourselves for our wives, for our kids. I do think it's important to have that time, but if you spend too much time there, then yeah, I don't know what the healthy balance is, but I do catch myself thinking, man, I've had, I got 6 hours of sleep last night. I can go on 5. I should have gotten up early this morning and, spent some time investing in myself to be a better version of myself for my wife and kids. So yeah, it's a daily struggle. I mean,
it's a good answer. Both answers. I like that. TV time, even though it's a media, it still gets a chance to be present with your wife. That's pretty awesome, Jeff. And that's a good answer about, I think what I'm hearing is, number one, from all of us, let me answer the question. I definitely can get lost in it for sure. Multiple times. Like I know you guys both know, I new career change. I bought a couple of Firehouse subs, and in the morning you got to go, and it's easy for me. Like I said, when I drop my kids off, gym's real close, and then it's kind of a 3 or 4 minute drive to the first location, if you will. And I usually get there not too long after all the employees get there, and not that I have to or anything, but I'll go and just kind of, prep things, whether it be slicing cucumbers or whatever. And I'll put up, like you said, put a podcast in, and before I know it, I'm spending 45 minutes slicing a cucumber. I'm like, why did it take so long? It's a cucumber. What? But I just, I got lost in my nothing box. But I was being productive because, number one, the employees are seeing me actually doing something, if that makes sense. But at the same time, I got lost there and shouldn't have spent 45 minutes slicing the cucumber. That's kind of crazy. But I could have been slicing something else too. But anyway, so I can find that I get there pretty easily, especially with sports as well. Sundays when football's on or whatever, kids are running crazy, and I can get lost in a football game like that. I mean, really, really quickly. So I've got to watch myself with that too. And I think finding ways to take some of the stress off my wife would be a more productive way, because she doesn't get enough time there for sure. I think that's kind of where we can kind of wrap this whole episode up in a bow, is that, I think there's times when it's healthy, there's times when it's non-productive. I think we all need a little bit of that. I think we've all admitted that we don't give our wives enough of that time there, and we should. It's interesting. There's a couple Bible verses that I want to kind of leave with, and that's the first one's John 14:27. It says, "Peace I leave with you, my peace I give to you. Not as the world gives, do I give to you. Let not your hearts be troubled, neither let them be afraid." And then also 2 Timothy 1:7 says, "For God gave us a spirit not of fear, but of power and love and self-control." I think the self-control part is where the Nothing Box can help if we use it wisely. What do you guys think?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, what you do in that Nothing Box is, whether that's a good place or a detrimental place to your spouse, to your family. I mean, it can be a productive place, but you just got to use it wisely.
Well, guys, I know it's a little bit of a different topic, but I think it's a great discussion. I think there's always needs and must find places where we can unwind and de-stress. I think that's the point, and why the Nothing Box can be very valuable, to just find places to de-stress, but at the same time understand that we have responsibilities that are bigger than we are. Any last words before we close up the episode here, guys? Jeff, Josh?
No, Merry Christmas, everybody. It's 2 weeks away.
Dude, I love doing this with y'all. Like, I really get a kick out of this. I feel like just getting to spend time with you guys is a highlight of the week.
Yeah,
Awesome.
no, it's good. I enjoy it.
Awesome. Guys, this wraps up our 5th episode, and want to remind everyone out there in the cyberspace world that purpose is simple. We're just trying to showcase how much we love our kids, how much we love our wives. Doing the best we can, and this is really all about how God's blessed us and how we love our children. So if you get a chance, you like what you hear, you like what you see, hopefully you can superimpose something over this face, but if you can't, that's fine. Please, go on our YouTube page, go on any of our social media sites. We're all over the place, on all the podcast places. Give us a thumbs up, give us a 5-star rating. Also, you can email us at the daddydiscussionspodcast@gmail.com. Got any future topic ideas, or got any questions about anything we've talked about in the past, we'd love to hear from you. And to everyone out there in the world, we love you. To 3Js, I hope you have a Merry Christmas. I'll see you soon. And that is the end of the episode.